is the first episode of a podcast that I'm just gonna have to name at a later time because I just couldn't I couldn't think of the name, right? I didn't know what the vibe was gonna be exactly. But I'll figure it out. Till then, we rocking, right? I wanna welcome everybody. Today's episode is inspired by nigga wanted to be in a different position, so I decided I'm gonna dedicate myself to this. I'm gonna push myself in one direction, and I'm gonna go all the way with it. Because the problem is, I've been almost afraid to put myself out there, right? I've been almost ashamed of what I've considered a lack of progress. I've always had this concept. This concept fucked me up. I ain't gonna lie to you. This idea. It's this idea that I think it started when I was 21. Probably even sooner than that. But when I was 18, I felt like I should have had a lot more accomplished by the time I was 16. By the time I was 21, I felt like I should have been further than this at 18. By the time I was 25, I felt like I should have been here by the time I was 21. And that monster just kept growing. And that came with a level of being embarrassed. It was a lot of just being embarrassed, feeling ashamed. This inferiority complex. This idea that I should have had things more figured out and more together than I did. And I don't even know where the concept came from. It's some shit I adopted from, I couldn't even tell you, right? But it was something I was very hard on myself about. I was very much the villain in my own story to myself because I couldn't forgive it. I don't know if it was ego, I don't know if it was pride, I don't know what it was, but that became something that I was shutting down. Like I broke contact with people close to me, right? My mom would call and I wouldn't want to call her back. She'd try to come see me, she'd try to come visit, ask me to come visit, and I made up all the excuses in the world to get around it. Grandma, same thing. Cousins, same thing. Auntie, same thing. And it was like, I couldn't even explain to you why I thought that would help. I was just so embarrassed by not having my shit together the way I felt I should. I just didn't want nobody to see me until I was up. I wanted to hide my face and get low until I was up. And that shit tore away at my spirit. To be that disconnected, to be so removed from the people that helped me feel grounded in this world, from the people that I love the most and care for the most and have been there for me through my entire life, to have all these years separated from them and no real explanation for it that I could give, that I could truly explain. It took a toll on me, man, but I let it go on for years and years, right? And I lost somebody close to me in that time. And I had kept telling myself and telling them that I was gonna make up for all this time. I just needed to get to a certain space in life. And before I got there, I lost somebody close to me. And that's the pain that I gotta live with today. And I gotta live with that pain, and I can't escape it. And it hurts just like day one today. And all behind me just feeling embarrassed and ashamed, and I had no reason to. In your 20s, you're not gonna have this shit figured out. I don't care what nobody tell you, you don't know shit. You're not gonna know shit in your 20s. I'm 29 and just now realizing that I have been playing myself the whole time. I created this idea that I was supposed to know all this shit that I didn't know. I was supposed to have everything I had figured out. I didn't have figured out. I was impatient with myself. I didn't give myself the room to grow and develop. And that cost me everything I wanted, for real. So I want to make sure that I could put this out there, because somebody in their 20s, walking into their 20s right now, as I walk out of them, I want to make sure that I could hopefully do something to stop that cycle, right? So don't feel like you need to have it all figured out in your 20s. Don't feel like you can't be yourself, or you not good enough, or you should be ashamed of where you at. Don't feel like you need to have it all understood. Don't feel like you need to have it all together. It's not gonna happen. You don't know nothing yet, and you are in this phase where you're really just learning yourself. All right? Be patient with yourself. Give yourself time, but be patient with the people around you. Because another thing about that is, during this whole process, my entire 20s, I've been with one woman my entire 20s. My fiance is the most amazing woman in the world to me. The most amazing woman in the world to me. And that's because she was patient enough with me to deal with my development. And I didn't offer her that same grace through this whole thing, yet she continued to offer it to me, even though it didn't come off. I mean, it doesn't mean it was always peaches and cream. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't always peaches and cream. Shit hit the fan a couple times. Don't get me wrong, shit got deep a couple times. But what I'm saying is, I had to learn to offer her the grace and the patience that I needed to offer myself. But because I wasn't offering that to myself, and I was so hard on myself, and I expected me to have so much figured out and so much accomplished by a certain time, I took that same projection I had on myself and threw it on her. So when she made mistakes, or she didn't respond to things how I thought she should, or when she didn't move or do the things that I thought she should, I was bothered by it. I was upset by it. I felt some type of way. I was critical. You know what I'm saying? I was judgmental at times where I shouldn't be. I was impatient where I shouldn't have been. And I didn't take a second to realize that I was taking my perceptions on life and throwing them at her, and it wasn't fair. And I wasn't being patient, and I wasn't allowing her to grow. And I wasn't even, so much to the effect that I would say that I wasn't even accepting the person I was with. I was expecting their potential and not accepting who they are today. And it wasn't until I was 29 where I started to really get a grip on that, and I was able to really shake myself back and make myself realize, yo, stop doing this to yourself. You're doing it to the other people. You just stop. And so I had to learn how to love myself again. I had to learn how to not let that embarrassment take over. Not let that feeling of why I don't got it figured out take over. I had to really deal with that. Stopping the video for now. I didn't get a fucking phone call.